is a RAG dead and how do you even a RAG? Hey everyone, my name is Vidalin, and in this video we're going to have a look at what is a Retrieval-Augmented Generation and do you still need it in order to create amazing AI applications in 2026. The short answer is yes. So what is a RAG and why do you still need it? Here we have an explanation from Opus 4.6 using quote code. And here you can see that Retrieval-Augmented Generation is essentially using some external knowledge that the LLM might not have seen. For example, your company's data, or maybe the LLM providers are actually seeing this, but training their LLMs to tell you that they haven't, and some other external information in order to inject that information within your LLM knowledge and allow you to query the knowledge itself. Here are the three main components that you need in order to create a simple RAG implementation. First, you need to have some retrieval, that is a way to get some external information from a database, documents, for example, PDFs, HTML files, Excel tables, etc. And then you need to augment the LLM knowledge with that. Most likely, this includes inserting that knowledge within the LLM via a prompt. And then you're going to be using the LLM that you have chosen in order to generate a response based on user's query. While we do have models that are over 1 million tokens in context windows, and in your coding assistance, you're probably looking at the models searching within your code bases without using the Retrieval-Augmented Generation parts of a RAG system. In many cases, you still need to provide a lot of information that is focused for a specific user query that is not available within the knowledge base of the model, or even if it is within the knowledge base of the model, you are probably going to get better results from your LLMs if you provide this information within the LLM prompt. Also, it is really hard to provide, for example, 1,000 documents or millions and millions of rows from SQL databases for your prompt and expect that you're going to get answers that are very fast. That is the inference time that your models is going to give you and stream the responses to your users. Another important thing is that you can provide these sources from the chunks that you have provided for your LLM as a resource or a reference to the user so he or she can check the factuality of the actual response provided by the LLM. Also, in my experience, LLM provide much less hallucination if you're going to provide the concrete context that you need in order to get the correct response to a given user query. But of course, there is the other side that just embedding, retrieving, and creating generations isn't enough in 2026. So you need a bit more advanced techniques in order to provide correct information for your RAG users. In this video, I'm going to show you the foundation that you need in order to start with a very simple RAG application. And if you want to learn how to build real-world RAG systems, go and subscribe to ML Expert Pro, where you can find a complete AI engineering academy that starts from setting up your local LLM and local development environment. Then it goes through context engineering, which contains a production-ready RAG pipeline, and then it goes to AI agents, fine-tuning model, monitoring, and deploying your LLM models in production. So if you want to become a better AI engineer, go and subscribe to ML Expert Pro. Thank you. I'm in my local cursor instance, and this code is part of the AI Engineering Academy in ML Expert and available for all members. So if you want to get access to it, go and subscribe to ML Expert Pro. Here I have a couple of imports. This RAG application is going to be very simple. We're going to be using just the basics of LangChain, and instead of heavy vector database, I'm going to be using TF-IDF vectorizer in order to create similarity searches for the chunks that we're going to be producing. So let me run the first cell, and here you can see that we're initializing the prompt template along with the local model that I'm going to be using. In this case, this is going to be Gemma 3, the 4 billion parameter version of the model, and this is hosted on my local Ollama instance with about 16K of tokens for the complete context window that I'm going to be using. And the prompt itself is going to be very simple. This is going to be a financial analyst that we're going to be using in order to provide some context, which is going to be a financial document from a fictional company. And then we're going to be asking information about the context that we're going to be providing here. And note that here I say, if the answer is not within the context, say, I don't know. This would depend on the model and how well this is trained to follow instruction. Of course, for 4 billion parameter models such as geometry, you might not expect every time that this instruction is going to be followed perfectly, but we'll see whether or not this is going to happen within the execution of this program. So the next thing that I'm going to do is to actually load our financial document. And you see here that we are stripping by 2 new lines. And in this case, we have created chunks or parts of this document that are going to be 5 in total. And let's see what we have here as the actual information from the document. This will be within the text. And let's see the first 500 characters of that. You see that we start with Acme Corporation, Q4 2025 financial summary, quarterly financial results, the revenue, risk factors, etc. This is very closely similar to what we might have for a real company. Of course, these numbers are entirely fictional, but you can see that we are actually getting some of this information within the document. And for example, the first chunk that we're going to be using, let's see what it is going to contain. The first one is going to be just the title. Of course, the chunking here is far from perfect. Let's see what the second chunk would have. And here you can see that we have the first paragraph along with the information of the revenue quarterly results. I would say a nice summary of what we have from this document. And from there, you're going to see that we are going to be initializing the TF-IDF vectorizer. If you're not familiar with TF-IDF, this is essentially a word counting normalized by the amount of words that are reoccurring into the text that we're going to contain. So in our case, we have a lot of chunks, and we're going to be using those as a vocabulary in order to create these chunks vectors. And let's run this, and we'll see that we are going to have 5 chunks, and each of our chunks is going to have 154 features. And if we look within a single chunk vector, it's going to be just a vector of numbers, of course. But let's see, for example, the first one, and let's see the first, let's say 20 numbers here. And you see the values for the different numbers here within this vector. So we have a pretty standard vectorization from the sklearn library. And then we have 2 helper functions along with another that is going to generate a response for us without the context information that we're going to be providing. Here you see the retrieve function. Within this function, we're going to be using the query that the user is providing. We're going to be embedding it with our vectorizer that is creating a query vector. And then we're going to be calculating the similarities between the chunks and the query that we're going to be passing in. Then we're going to be taking the first K results from there and essentially return those along with the scores that we have for this particular query. I have told you already about the generate answer no rack, but if we have a rack that is context that we're going to be using, we're going to be getting the retrieval along with the retrieved chunks. These are going to be in text form. Then we're going to also have the scores, which we're going to be also responding with. And from there, we're going to be using our prompt template, formatting the context that is coming from the retrieve function, and then the question that is going to be the query. Then we're going to be invoking our LLM, which again is going to be geometry, the 4 billion parameter version of the model. And then we're going to be returning the context, the response content, that is the text, and the scores. So if we run this cell, we load those functions here. And if we try first calling the rack system without the Retrieval-Augmented Generation component, that is without the context, when I ask what was the revenue in Q4 2025 and year-over-year increase, you're going to see that the answer is I don't know, which is of course correct in this case. But if we work with some of the information that is going to be with the generate answer that is using the RAC system, we are going to have a look at, let's say, for example, the first one of the queries. And here, if we're asking what was the revenue in Q4 2025, essentially the same question, we are going to see that this particular context was retrieved, quarterly financial results, revenue for Q4 2025, exactly what we wanted. And this is the revenue for Q4 2025. This is the answer from the IOM, is 847 million, which is exactly this number right here, representing a 23% year-over-year increase. So you can see that the IOM is picking up the context that we're going to be providing and then using it in order to answer with something that it is not I don't know, but the actual answer grounded within the context. So even though this is a very simple implementation, it appears to be working. Let me run this with all of the queries. And note that even though this is a relatively small model, the performance of it seems to be quite good. And Gemma 3 actually is some of the models that I really like in these vocal settings. Will the company increase dividends after the strong revenue growth? Of course, the board voted against dividend increases. Here, this is the information. And note that pretty much in the first two responses, we're getting the first chunk, but here is another one. So what is the company artificial intelligence strategy? And here you can see that we don't have such information, at least within this chunk. This might be a wrongly retrieved chunk, but also we might not have any information about artificial intelligence strategy. And this time around, even though we have passed this relatively large context, the model said, I don't know. Can the company invest in stocks or equities? And here you can see that we got another chunk within the document from the model. And here we also have a score. Of course, you can use that for thresholding. You can see that here with the retrieved context, the score is roughly 2 times this one of the investment policy, which provided an answer for the model that it is, I don't know, since it didn't have any information within that. And can the company invest in stocks or equities? And here, again, based on this information, the model didn't receive enough information to give a definitive answer. So it answered with I don't know, which again is correct. But many times in practice, you might see those types of RAC systems that do not fetch the correct chunks for their models or altogether give you wrong information or wrong results due to poor ingestion from the original documents, for example, PDFs, Markdown files, or HTML files. So in those cases, you would need to create some advanced strategies to create those chunks with very dense and contextual information for your LLMs in order to get the correct information and then the correct answer based on that. This was a very simple implementation of how you can start with building a RAC application from scratch. Of course, in the real world, RAC applications are much more complex, but this is the foundation or the starting point for pretty much every RAC. And from there, you need to increase the complexity until the point that you're getting satisfactory results from your documents or internal knowledge base. Thank you for watching, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, join the Discord channel that I'm going to link down into the description of this video. And again, if you want to learn how to build production-ready RAC systems, go and subscribe to ML Expert Pro, which contains a complete AI engineering academy that I have just updated in a couple of hours ago. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.